Hello and welcome to the Thread to Mend podcast. My name is Taylor and I'm coming to you from Baltimore, Maryland, and this is a podcast about all things fiber related. I mostly speak on the subjects of knitting and spinning. And in this week's episode, I just want to show off really quickly my new Sipila sweater. This pattern is designed by Caitlin Hunter, and I knit it in the O Wool O Wash fingering yarn for the main color, and Little Lion Heads indie dyed yarn I bought from Etsy, and I actually didn't write down the colorway. I believe I did over dye this a tiny bit, but I didn't adjust it from its, like, it was just a slight tweak I wanted to make to warm it up. So you'll see it is a simple yoke design. I decided to knit it in the short sleeve version, even though my intention was to knit it long sleeve. I really did not enjoy the process of small circumference colorwork knitting with such a slippery yarn. It was just not fun, and I knew I was having trouble kind of with my floats being the right length and not puckering. It was just an executive decision I made, and I don't regret having a short sleeve shirt. I think this is going to be really nice to wear in the spring and the summer. I really do enjoy the neckline of this garment, and I think it's one that I would choose to knit again in a different type of yarn, something maybe a little more rustic, or even woolen spun yarn. So I'm really enjoying this. I'll just get up so I can show you really quick how it sort of fits. I did do, I think, a German twisted cast on. I will likely not utilize this cast on again because it does have a kind of hard edge and it'll kind of balloon out a little from that edge. So I've been experimenting with other types of cast-ons in newer sweaters, like the cable cast-on, which gives a nice kind of twisted look. So a little close-up on the German twisted. It's really not elastic at all, but it is very nice and neat at the bottom. I just did a tiny bit of 1x1 rib, and yeah, that is my Sipila sweater by Caitlin Hunter. I guess while I'm here, I'll show you a new update to my Nightingale sweater. This is a design by Nora Gong, and it's published in the Pom Pom Winter 2018 Winter Pom Pom magazine. And yeah, this is the back. It is quite stripy. Wow. It looks very stripy on camera. It is much more subtle in person. So I guess I'm just surprised to see that because it's not quite what I look at in real life. This is my planned sweater for Rhinebeck 2019, so you'll get to see it in person if we meet there, which I would love to do. But yeah, that is where I'm at here. And I'm gonna stop recording now so I can start knitting that. I wanna try to squeeze in as much making as I can before the week ahead. So I'm gonna enter next into the footage a recording I made last week that I never got around to editing or uploading. So I hope you enjoy watching, and I will see you later. So most of what I have to show you this podcast episode is just yarn that I've been buying. I have a new job. I make more money than I used to, and I don't know how to keep up with my production capability. And because I love knitting and I love yarn, I just want to buy the things that I can now afford, even though I don't have the time to make them, which is giving me some anxiety. So it is now March. I'm officially on a yarn diet until May, and I hope to make as much as I can until then because I want a new finished garment to wear at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I do want to keep up with what I've acquired. I've recently acquired in the last few months a few sweater quantities of yarn that I just cherish, and I want to make sure I put into use before I purchase any more. And so with the intention of kind of speaking to the qualities of them and maybe giving you some inspiration on things you could make if you feel like you're in a rut and you don't know, what to do with them or try something new, I thought I'd show you some of the stuff I've been buying. So the first is a skein of yarn. I have this one with the label still attached. I bought this from the Woolly Thistle. It's the, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but it's Ol Centrum. This is 100% Swedish wool, and this wool would have otherwise been destroyed or composted because it's not of the greatest quality, I think, or it's not produced by sheep that are bred for wool. And this is pretty affordable. I bought it, I think, at like $12-ish, something like that, a skein. And it does not have, so I bought 2 skeins of the gray, 2 skeins of this cream color, and 1 skein of this yellow. And it doesn't have any real elasticity. It's just very much what it is. It's a nice lightly loosely plied yarn. It's nice and hairy. I mean, it has a halo, and I think that this would be a really great kind of substitute for Lopi yarn. Maybe I think that when it washes, it'll be a little softer, or it is softer than Lopi. When I say soft, I don't mean that it's like Lopi can sometimes feel very scratchy because it's an outerwear. I think that this is a nice middle ground where you're getting that good kind of solid outerwear type of fiber, but one that you might feel comfortable wearing next to skin if you're not sensitive at all, if you're not a sensitive person, as I am not. I wear Lopi next to skin and I have no trouble unless I start to feel overheated. Then it kind of will be a little itchy and I have to either take it off or just put something on, or it's just like not always the right fiber for every environment. Here, I live in Maryland. It's kind of like a zone 7B if you're a gardener, and it's getting warmer every winter, it seems. We have fewer days or weeks where we're in the 20s and far more where we're in the 40s. So it's very often above freezing, and I feel like Lopi yarn is almost exclusively for freezing temperatures. It is so insulating and so warm, and I feel like this is a nice middle ground for that. It's a lighter gauge yarn. It's more of a DK sort of, it's a DK worsted, whereas I think I interpret Lopi to be kind of like a worsted Aran or a heavy worsted. And so I experimented with this. I wanted to see what it's about, and I will say that it'll probably make an amazing sweater, although at the same time I don't know that I'll ever purchase it a second time for another sweater, just because there's so many luxury yarns out there I want to get my hands on. I feel like this is going to be a really nice and affordable yarn, and Lopi's already very affordable, but I think that this will be a nice alternative to Lopi if you're in a slightly warmer climate, just above freezing. It does tend to split a little bit. I had split the stitch here as I was working and didn't realize, so I think that's due to the kind of loosely plied nature of it. It comes in good colors. I love this yellow. It's kind of like that rich golden color that is so popular, and yeah, and there's some areas to it that are, the spin isn't the most consistent. Like you'll find elements that are much thicker, and what I try to do is kind of tug on them to kind of pull some fiber out to make it a little less noticeable once the fiber is kind of knit. Yeah, so it's not the highest quality yarn, but I think it's plenty knittable. My father-in-law drinks only Corona beer, and anytime he tries something that's not Corona, he'll say something like, it's plenty drinkable. This yarn is plenty knittable. It is what it is. I also bought, while I was making that purchase from the Woolly Thistle, I bought some of the Relma yarn, which is, where is this from exactly? Is it Norway? Is it Norwegian? sorry, I can't read any of the, I do believe this is a Norwegian yarn. And I bought 2 skeins of this, I think. I'll have to double check. Okay, so, right. I bought 2 skeins of this nice neutral color. I do think I'm going to try knitting a pair of socks. I have been a little jealous of everyone knitting with the tuku wool, and I wanted a color similar to this that they produce, but it was all sold out. And so I thought I would give this a try instead, because it's likely that it could be somewhat similar. At least it's the right gauge for socks. Most people knit, I see mostly people knitting color work mittens or hats with this type of yarn. Very few people, my cat is pawing under the door, so cute. I haven't seen anyone knit socks with yarn like this, but I haven't done a ton of research, but I bought this yarn with the intention of knitting a nice pair of socks for myself. And then while I was in the same shopping cart through that store, I tried a couple others. So this is the same type of yarn I bought in one of my favorite kind of greeny, yellowy green colors. I don't know that I won't mix them, but I don't know. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. I just wanted to know what it looked like in real life, and I knew I could incorporate it into some colorwork pattern at some point. Yeah, and unfortunately I can't really read anything about this yarn except it's a 2-ply, it's 175 meters and 50 grams. So that would be what, 325 meters, so nice fingering weight, sort of. And I also bought this skein, which is same brand, different type of yarn. And if I'm not mistaken, I feel like this is the yarn that comes in the wider range of colors. And I just wanted to try another type of yellow and see how that looked in real life. So you can see that it's a true yellow compared to this kind of pea green yellow. Ooh. Yeah, so I need to see, this is what I mean when I say I need to go on a yarn diet, because I really can't even knit through everything I have, and I don't want to be that person. And around the same time, I also made an impulse purchase from the Wool Warehouse. I believe it's a British company, and they were carrying a color of the Lopi yarn I've never been able to buy from yarn.com. And if I can find the colorway, I'll tell you what it is. It's color 1416. I don't think it's the murky color. I think that's a different color I purchased, but this is a nice foresty green kind of mixed with brown and a little bit of white, and it's a very muted, murky, browny green. And I bought, I think, 8 skeins of this to make a nice cardigan, and I have plenty left over from other Lopi projects. So eventually I do hope to knit another colorwork sweater, this time a cardigan that I'll likely steek. But I just need to find out what pattern that might be. I don't know right now. And yeah, so that's pretty exciting. I think I'll knit that in the winter of 2019. I furiously knit on a pattern, on a Lopi sweater this past winter, and I think that it's one of the best yarns you could be knitting in December when it's that gift-giving season and starting to get really cold, and, you know, gift yourself at the end of the year a nice warm squishy sweater to wear all winter. It's definitely my plan this year. And then the last kind of yarn haul that I have to share is my most recent and the last before Maryland Sheep and Wool in May, I promise to myself, I swear, is Isagar's Silk Mohair and Spinny Wool 1. So I bought myself 4 skeins of this yarn. It's almost insane to think that this is enough for a nice full-size sweater. But it is held double with 3 skeins of mohair, so it's more than it looks. And this color is a very murky greeny gray. I like greeny grays. I don't love bluey grays, so this really was a pleasant surprise. I don't normally buy any yarn online anymore. Although everything I showed you that I bought, I did. I don't have local to me yarn stores that really sell the things that I'm passionate about investing in. I like woolly yarn. I like really fibery yarn. I'm not a fan of, personally, I'm not a fan of the worsted spun, machine milled yarns that are manufactured in an unknown place. For me, I like knowing exactly where things come from and exactly how they're processed. And if at this point now, I feel that if I'm under the impression that it's manufactured or that it's grown in one place and shipped across the world to be manufactured and then shipped back around to the other end of the world to be dyed and then shipped to me, I just feel like that product has such a far carbon footprint that I can't measure, that at this point I have so much, I don't need any more. And I just love knowing that this was, you know, grown and made in Denmark and shipped straight from there right to me. Anything I can do to limit the amount of transport is really what I'm passionate about investing in. That's just my personal taste. So I wanted to try this out. I recently bought a book that was full of patterns using Isagar's yarn, and because I had spent the money on this book, I wanted to make sure that I utilized it and I made something from it. So I went ahead and splurged on yarn to make something with that pattern book. It's not the most affordable yarn. I think I spent, oh, it's $13 for 50 grams. So that would be, you know, $26 a skein, which is not cheap for me. I don't typically spend that much money on yarn these days. And it's held together with mohair, so that doubles the cost of the sweater. I paid $16.50 for a 50-gram skein of that, but I only needed to buy 3. So anyway, that brings the cost of the sweater up to like $120, which is really decadent and luxurious, and also many, many, many hours of entertainment. So that's how I justify my spending on this sort of luxury item. It's not as if, you know, I'm not investing my time and my energy into it also. So yeah, I feel like if my time spent knitting is limited now, I might as well invest in the finest I can afford, and I'm having a hard time with that. Obviously, I can't accept it because I am accustomed to being so frugal, and I kind of just like went for it, and I went all out because I wanted free shipping. So I bought even more than this. I bought a sweater's quantity, which I think that I'm going to knit this gray with gray. I also bought a warmer mohair because I thought even if I knit 2 sweaters from this pattern book, I'll likely need a strand of mohair for the second sweater. And to get my shopping cart up to the price I needed for free shipping, I thought it's totally worth the risk of just buying extra mohair I don't think I yet need, that I can hold together with some other type of yarn I either spin myself or perhaps already own. So I went ahead and bought this. This is color 6 and this is color 3M. And I've touched a lot of mohair. I've shopped for mohair and never ever bought it. This is the only mohair I've ever bought myself. And it is soft like a bunny. It almost feels like Angora. It is so, so soft. And I didn't want to take the risk of shopping for more affordable mohair online and not knowing its texture. I had stumbled in recently to a local to me yarn shop, and unfortunately they didn't have more than 2 skeins of nearly any colors at all. So as a garment knitter, the things that I could buy were very, very limited. And so I got to look at the color cards, and I just ended up buying this from Tolt Yarn and Wool, which is, I felt like if I'm gonna betray my local yarn store, which to be honest doesn't cater to me or my tastes, then I might as well support a local yarn store in another state. So I did end up doing that. I just love the experience of shopping from their website, so I did do that, and I don't regret it, but I am eager to get this on my needles. So I think what I plan to do is focus exclusively on my Nightingale sweater, wrap up that kind of marled, faded object I've been working on, and then cast on a cardigan with mohair held together, so that I have a nice light and warm thing to throw over in the spring when it's still chilly outside and I'm like over wearing a coat and I don't want a coat. The thing is, I don't know that any of the projects have pockets, and so I might try to modify it to have a pocket so that I have pockets in my life. And then of course I do still want to work on my I have it right over here in front of me. I have my hand spun, hand dyed yarn collection. I've just been oogling for the last several months. This is more yarn than I need for a single garment, but many of the colors are very close. I mean, 2 colors have 2 skeins that are almost identical. They're at the bottom of the pile, and there's not a whole lot of variance between the hues or the shades or whatever. So one thing I did was I knit a swatch, and I used the 2 colors that are most similar in color, and I knit them into this kitty cat swatch. This kitty pattern was one that I already have in a sweater a friend gave me, and I'm a little shiny. Let me see. I don't use any matte makeup, so get a little shiny. This kitty cat is in a sweater that I wear often. It's a really thick machine knit wool vintage cat all over sweater, and I wanted to recreate it, but unfortunately the yarn in that sweater is so fine that the cats are like this big, and it's really cute, and I feel like the cat in a larger gauge yarn is just so big. I don't know if it's a pattern I would incorporate into a sweater, although no, it's not dramatically big. I could do a row of cats, maybe just a cat on the cuff or something, just for a little bit of, I don't know. I should do at least one cat somewhere. But yeah, I wanted to see what these 2 colors would look like in contrast, to see how, like, obviously, you know, it might not be a motif like this where you have like detail, but even if it's like a line or a squiggle or something, how would they look together? And I don't think it's bad. I wouldn't maybe do a ton of it, but I do want to knit eventually with this yarn. I just don't know what. I really don't know. And yeah, I put so much of myself into this project of spinning all this yarn that I need to do something eventually, right? I'm like hoarding it in my stash. I don't want to see it like gone or used or something. And then also, like, you know, it's not perfect. I'm noticing that I knit this on a 4, and there are points of this yellow yarn, it's just so fine that it kind of looks a little gapey. It's possible that if I were doing a more consistent color work, that wouldn't be as obvious, but there is quite a difference in the gauge. If you look to the back and just check out my wonky floats, you can see the difference in the gauge. It's obvious that this is much thinner than this. So it's not going to be a perfect project, but it will be pretty cool to have a full garment. I naturally dyed in all these different colors and hand spun from a fleece. It's got to happen soon. I think that I lack the confidence in myself to create something from absolutely nothing that is worth making. I think I need a little, I need to maybe bust out my pencils and doodle a draft of what it could be. There's so much potential with nothing that I sometimes stop myself short of even starting, because I'm not sure that what I put out or what I put all my energy into is going to be worth the use of something I cherish. So that's just something I need to get over. I need to move beyond whatever fear. I just need to move forward and start. Again, I'm not helping myself by buying all of this yarn that's so fancy, because I'm always gonna want to be making something else. But you know, yeah, that's life. That's just life. That's the life of a maker. One more thing I have to show you is this awesome thrifted sweater. I haven't even taken the tag off. I spent $4 on this. It's a double XL, 100% cashmere, made in China, 2-ply cashmere yarn, made by Northern Isles. And it's really big, and it's really green, and it's really soft. It has some pilling that I can easily fix with my little Pill Master machine. And oh my goodness, $4 for a cashmere sweater. So that's it, that's all. I'm gonna finish recording this now, and I'm gonna start making some of the things. I don't know what time it is, but I'm teaching a group private today, so I need to get ready for that. And I hope you all have a great day. Feel free to find me on social media if you haven't already. My name is Taylor E. Owen on both Ravelry and Instagram. And I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this episode. I truly, truly love having people in my life that like the things I like. And if you're watching this, you're probably one of the few. So thank you so much. And I will talk to you all soon.